I'm Dr. Zero. Z-E-R-O. Oh, Z-E-R-O. Zero. And as my name suggests, I'm something of an expert on breakdowns. Welcome to my research institute. Do you know this game? I love it. It's a great way of getting rid of one's frustrations, and I've got plenty of those. You know, you can hit the moles as hard as you like, but they still keep coming up. Of course, it's a lot of fun if it's just a game. But how much fun would it be if we think of the moles as equipment breakdowns in the factory, Excuse me. Oh, come on. Ah, that's better. I don't know about you, but I have trouble with my equipment all the time. I suppose I'll have to call the electrician. Oh, where was I? Ah, yes. Now, in theory, equipment is supposed to last for a certain period of time before it wears out and has to be replaced. But what happens in practice is that it often stops functioning altogether long before its appointed time. That is, it breaks down. And it usually happens at the most inconvenient times. Oh dear, breakdowns, breakdowns, breakdowns everywhere, and no time to stop and repair them. Perhaps we could think of these nasty breakdown problems together and think of some ways to try and get rid of them forever. First, let's break the breakdown down into their component parts. Break the breakdown down. You know, lots of people think it's only natural for machines to break down all the time. Everyone gets the idea you can leave all after-sales service to the manufacturer of the equipment. In fact, I used to think that too. But it's not true. The point is, if you don't do anything, of course it breaks down. This applies equally to the home, to the office, and to the factory. But remember, equipment is expensive. Why buy it if you can't use it? It should be used fully all the time. Like this tap. Now, just have a think about some common attitudes towards equipment, and I'll fix this.
Here are 4 common types of behaviour when we think it's only natural for equipment to break down. 1. We install equipment and leave it as it is. 2. We use machines but don't check anything after use. 3. We pay no attention to dust and dirt. 4. When a breakdown occurs, we call in the manufacturer.
Ah, good. It's true though, isn't it? Most breakdowns are caused by very simple factors. Let me show you some examples. It's filthy. It hasn't been oiled for years. All the nuts and bolts need tightening up. Parts definitely need replacing. Things just aren't fixed on right. And basically, they don't work properly. It's the same story in the factory.
The basic causes of breakdowns are these: dust and dirt, lack of lubrication, loose nuts and bolts, worn parts, mistakes in preparation procedures, faulty operation. In other words, breakdowns are mostly the result of misuse of equipment. The first step towards zero breakdowns is to ensure that all equipment is used properly.
Got the idea? You see, most of us start off thinking that machines should break down. But in fact, if we use them properly, we could get the idea that they shouldn't break down, that they should last for their allotted lifetime. It's as simple as that. Although actually, it's not quite so simple to achieve. We all want zero breakdowns. But where do we have to start looking? When it comes to breakdowns, all we notice is major defects when we have sudden stoppages. Although breakdowns seem to happen out of the blue, their causes have been building up over time. Any moving parts like these gradually wear out, just like humans do. Even me.
The first cause of breakdowns is natural wear and tear, which happens even when equipment is correctly used. This is natural deterioration. Every machine has a natural lifespan, and this kind of deterioration is predictable and can and should be planned for. But improper use of equipment is a major cause of trouble. For example, if parts are not lubricated sufficiently, or if cleaning is neglected. Human errors result in aggravated deterioration, and this is a major cause of breakdowns. Laziness with regard to equipment maintenance can result in aggravated deterioration being added to natural deterioration. As time passes, many small defects pile up and result in major deterioration of the equipment. And a defect in one part easily leads to a defect in another part. The end result of all this deterioration is major defects which manifest themselves as major breakdowns.
Now do you see the connection with the molds? Breakdowns are just like molds. They're what we actually see. But the causes of the breakdowns are invisible. They're hidden down below. What we've got to do is to get inside somehow and reveal the causes. We know you're in there. Come out with your hands up. Gotcha.
Obviously, the person best equipped to find unseen defects is the operator who uses the equipment every day. The operator should be able to detect any small abnormality easily based on his or her familiarity with the equipment. Special sensors are not necessary for this. There is nothing better than using all your 5 senses. The first sense is vision, which can be used to detect fractures, cracks, leakages, and so on. Second is hearing, to detect abnormal sounds, trembling, etc. The third sense is smell, to detect burning, overheating, gas leakages, and so on. Fourth is touch. Both feet and hands can detect vibrations, shaking, and looseness of nuts and bolts, and the fingers can also detect abnormal temperatures. Fifth is taste. The tongue is a very sensitive instrument, and it can be very useful in detecting abnormalities.
The point is that we've been equipped with 5 natural senses. And we should use them all the time to give us information at work, just like we do at home. Excuse me, I think the toast is burning.
Let's now summarize the 4 main points to help us detect minor defects in our equipment. 1. Breakdowns and visible defects are only the tip of the iceberg. This means that all equipment needs careful and regular checking. 2. We must find ways to reveal unseen defects before breakdowns occur. 3. Natural deterioration is inevitable, but we should avoid adding aggravated deterioration caused by human error. 4. All 5 senses should be used to discover abnormalities. Now let's look at 5 main points for improvement as we try to reveal hidden defects and avoid breakdowns. 1. Cleaning, tightening of nuts and bolts, and complete lubrication. 2. Proper use of equipment. 3. Revealing hidden defects and restoring original condition. 4. Reconsidering equipment design. 5. Improving equipment maintenance.
Yes, points for improvement. That's what we all need. Let's have a look at them in more detail.
Regular and thorough cleaning can reveal many kinds of minor defects, including dirt, worn parts, scratches, leakages, loose parts, and shape deformations. In other words, cleaning equals checking. This is an actual example of efficient and effective cleaning. In this factory, operations continue around the clock. Cleaning is carried out on each piece of equipment for 10 minutes both in the morning and the evening by 2 different people. The morning cleaning session focuses on discovering malfunctions or abnormalities that arose during the night shift. The evening session is simply for straightforward cleaning. This system means that every shift begins with clean equipment, and at the same time maintenance is greatly facilitated. The result is that breakdowns caused by dirt can be eliminated. Now some brief comments from the workers involved.
Loose bolts can quickly cause breakdowns, but we can only find which ones are loose if they're kept clean.
Because we're cleaning the equipment every day, checking is made much easier. It's a very efficient method.
The main point here is that a combination of regular cleaning and checking can keep the equipment working in just the way it is designed to operate, without stoppages. One loose bolt can cause vibration which loosens other bolts and so creates a dramatic chain reaction which ends in breakdown. There is nothing simpler than checking all nuts, screws and bolts to make sure they are correctly tightened and constantly rechecking to keep them that way. But this is often overlooked, even though it could cut breakdowns by 50%. Tighten it right and keep it tight. Another obvious problem area is lubrication. Inadequate lubrication caused by laziness can lead to burning, rust and general deterioration of equipment. Clear lubrication labels, located right next to the lubrication point, can be very useful. They can indicate information such as type of oil needed, quantity and frequency of lubrication. These three straightforward processes, cleaning, tightening and lubrication, are vital steps for improvement in our drive towards zero breakdowns. Point 2 is concerned with how we actually use equipment. It's very important that operators really understand all the functions and correct operating procedures of any machines they are responsible for. Unless operating standards are strictly adhered to, breakdowns can easily occur. As an example, let's take a look at a familiar piece of equipment, an air control unit which supplies lubricating oil to an air cylinder. The air filter removes dirt and moisture from the air sucked in from the outside. The air regulator provides the correct air pressure. The air lubricator uses that air pressure to deliver lubrication oil to the cylinder. To keep operations running smoothly, there is a fixed operating procedure for each part. Let's see what happens when these procedures are neglected. If the water is not removed from the air filter drain, rust can form inside the cylinder. If the air pressure is not properly checked, the pressure can become unstable. If a fixed amount of oil is not maintained inside the air lubricator, the cylinder will quickly wear out. And if the cylinder itself deteriorates, the result will be defective products. The point is that if we don't use every part of our equipment properly, defects pop up all over the place. Operating procedures for every part are rules which have to be kept. Break the rules and you break your machine. As we've already seen, equipment naturally deteriorates with usage. But what can we do to keep deterioration to a minimum and avoid breakdowns?
The watch has stopped. I just put new batteries in this last week. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what's wrong with this?
Checking and inspection of all parts must be done thoroughly, so that any deteriorating parts can be spotted at once. As far as possible, we want to keep all the equipment close to its original condition, so that there is a proper working balance of the whole system. Once any deterioration has been detected and identified, it should be carefully evaluated and then immediately treated to restore the equipment to its original condition. This process may have to be repeated regularly. Here are the three main points for the restoration process. Checking should be regular and thorough. Inspection standards and procedures must be carefully clarified. Maintenance activities must be fully implemented. There are many situations where maintenance is carried out correctly and operators keep a constant watch on their machines, but where the life of certain parts still seems much too short. In cases such as this, one solution may be to take a careful look at the actual design of the equipment and consider whether improvements could be made. But if we think of the design of the oil seal, maybe we can avoid long stoppages. If, for example, the main shaft was redesigned so that the part of it touching the oil seal was detachable, then removal and replacement would become very simple indeed. Another advantage of this kind of design improvement is that operators can do the maintenance themselves at the workplace. It's important to think about all aspects of parts design, including their size, type and function, and the materials used. Point 5 is really a summary of the other points. A lot of on-the-job training is necessary in the production section to make sure that all operators understand the function and structure of every piece of equipment they work with. This will ensure that the equipment is used properly and also help operators to find and evaluate deterioration as a basis for maintenance and restoration of the original condition. Various skills may be required for detecting and evaluating deterioration. These include the ability to measure equipment accurately and evaluate defects, a full understanding of power systems in the workplace, and the ability to use simple gauges to measure movement, such as vibrations. Obviously, each workplace will have its own particular requirements. Basic skills required for restoration of equipment to its original working condition include proper tightening of all nuts, bolts and screws, proper key adjustment, proper maintenance of shafts and their holders, proper maintenance of transmission systems, and correct procedures to prevent leakages of any kind. If your restoration procedures are inadequate, then you will not be able to prevent breakdowns. But remember, acquiring maintenance skills does take time, and it is better to acquire understanding and skills gradually and fully, rather than to do everything in a hurry. Here are a few points which can help in the improvement of maintenance skills. Practice the ability to detect malfunctions quickly. Think about improvements, and then proceed with them in an efficient manner. Learn and digest everything concerning the structure and function of all the equipment you use. Make sure you fully understand the relationship between shop floor equipment and the quality of the final product. Study all the techniques required for repairing equipment yourself. Finally, let's review the 5 main points for avoiding breakdown losses. 1. Cleaning, tightening of nuts and bolts, and complete lubrication. 2. Proper use of equipment. 3. Revealing hidden defects and restoring original condition. 4. Reconsidering equipment design. And 5. Improving equipment maintenance.
Well, there we are. 5 vital Kaizen points. But it's no good implementing just 1 or 2. Remember to use all 5. Then you can come up with various good ideas to serve as countermeasures against deterioration and breakdowns. And remember, our ultimate goal? 0 breakdowns.
thought I heard somebody.
No, it's nobody.
Gretchen? Yo-ho! Tennis, anyone? Gretchen? What do we call this? Next single?
Oh, no. Whatever you do, you understand. Your side is the net.
Well, that'll be a little difficult.